to go live now. There you go. Let's play Master Detective Archives RainCode. In this episode, in the episode, will be answer the game, of course. And was there an intruder? I'm gonna say yes.
Right here.
We're just now getting to the point. What a pain.
Hey, don't sigh. This is a good thing.
Sorry.
Anyway, let's head inside.
No, I didn't
There
practice
was an
this stage
intruder
at all.
for sure. We know someone bumped into Amapal.
The culprit probably hit Amapel on their way out. After that, they must have intended to leave the lab. But they couldn't because we were in the front chamber. So they hid inside the decontamination device to avoid us.
So, if you checked inside the decontamination device on the way to the scene, you would have caught the culprit then and there.
Yeah, but it was an emergency and we had no idea they were in there.
It's super lame to make up excuses, Master.
It's not an excuse. But it is true. If I had thought about why Amapal was knocked over at that time, I would have realized the culprit was in there. We could have waited in ambush or searched for them. And if I'd caught the culprit then, Chief Yako wouldn't have gotten stabbed.
Master, wallowing in regret is even lamer. If you have time for that, you have time to keep going.
Right.
Another fork in the path.
How did the culprit enter the
Seems
lab?
like we're finally at the central question. This is the first step to solving how the culprit committed an impossible murder.
I leave the rest to you. I'm going to read a book or something.
You can bring your own stuff into the mystery labyrinth?
He's just special.
He's so special. They never entered the lab in the first place. Honestly, they cut the power.
Right here!
The culprit used the blackout to slip past security and into the lab. That answer is pretty simple. Almost too simple.
I mean, there's no other option.
Huh? A trap?
Guess you were wrong, Yuma. Well, I already knew that before you entered.
What? Why did you
People only grow by learning from past mistakes, which is why I purposely...
Master, we have to get out of here!
How do we get out?
Use logic to show how this route is the wrong one!
Alright, I'll try.
Antidote security by cutting the power. This one?
The doctor said the critical lab was on a separate grid, and the lab switchboard wasn't in the electrical room. The security wouldn't shut off, even if there was a blackout in the building. Well, I may have messed up, but at least we got a little closer to the truth.
Maybe, but if you hadn't messed up in the first place, you wouldn't have to come up with such a lame excuse.
I know. I'll do better next time.
Okay, didn't know until in the first place.
Right here!
The culprit never entered? But you said there's no doubt the culprit was in there.
Perhaps the intruder is not the culprit after all.
So you're saying that the doctor committed suicide? If the doctor committed suicide, then the culprit wasn't the intruder, but the doctor himself.
But if the doctor did it, there would be no intruder. The doctor was already in the lab.
Huh? This route is wrong too? Again?
No need to worry, Yuma. I don't mind it at all if we can't find a way to move forward.
Sheesh. Even I'm losing motivation. You can take care of this on your own, can't you, Master?
Let me influence you! It's no use, I won't make it in time!
Okay, wrong solution key.
It's no use, I won't...
Wrong key.
It's no use, I won't...
Okay, that's the wrong key also. So it's gotta be... Yeah, this one then.
That's right. The doctor was stabbed 3 times in the back.
No excuses, Master. Do it again.
You're tired, Yuma. Why don't you lie down for a bit?
Resting here wouldn't help me at all.
We are on time limit though, so... Okay, so... I'm supposed to obvious.
Right here!
The doctor invited the culprit in? But why?
Things are so muddled now because we're assuming the culprit forced their way inside. If the culprit was invited to the lab, then he easily would have been able to enter.
Ah, so you think the doctor disabled the security? He wouldn't need it if he was expecting a guest.
Huh? What? This was the last route!
This labyrinth is a tricky one. It's like one of those old detective novels. Perhaps you're the real culprit, Yuma.
Really, Master?
Of course not! Focus! We need to get out of here! The log on the doctor's computer didn't show any signs of security getting shut down. If that's the case, He certainly didn't cut security just to let someone in. What's going on? Were all 3 routes wrong?
I wonder what it means.
Yeah, because he tried all 3 routes and they're all wrong. There's no 4th route we can try.
Hey, there's another door!
I get it! Since we proved that every possibility was wrong, a new one has appeared!
Interesting. The Mystery Labyrinth not only materializes the case, but also changes based on your investigation.
Right. Something felt off about those other routes. It's almost like we were forced to choose the wrong way.
But by eliminating each wrong answer one by one, you opened the path to the right answer.
You sound disappointed.
Who cares? Let's just see what's in the final route!
They use spectral projection to enter and kill him?
Then, the culprit... I can't believe the culprit entered the labyrinth with us. That's never happened before. How dare you trick me! There is no escape! Once the mystery labyrinth is solved, the culprit will be judged! Master, let's finish up this mystery labyrinth and boom kill this dude!
What? Hold on!
Huh? Another trap?
That's why I said to wait. There's no way Vivia's the culprit.
Then, prove it and beat this thing! I won't be convinced until you do!
Alright. Entered and killed via special position is wrong because... Got this one, right?
To begin with, nothing can be touched while in ghost form. He couldn't have held the murder weapon, the knife. So it's not possible that he stabbed the doctor. Now do you trust Vivia?
Master, I've said this 1,000 times, but a detective must suspect everything. Besides, it's his fault for being so sketchy. The way he looks, how he talks, everything is super suspicious.
Sorry. I do try to stay out of sight.
Anyway, let's go back.
Alright. Yeah,
He's
that.
not the culprit? Then we're back to square one.
Let's try going back to the fork in the path. Maybe something else changed.
Which is like, I am seriously tired. Like, I've been through so much today at work, and YouTube's the only place I can say, you know, be, and so I'm actually accepted as like another content creator on the channel or on the planet.
Nothing's changed.
There aren't any new doors. What? There's nowhere to go? What was the point of eliminating all the other paths?
Come on.
Don't start with that again. How about you help us for a change? You better cooperate, unless you want to get chopped up by Master Solution Blade.
Hold on, Shinigami.
I don't want to get chopped up. I dislike pain. Immensely. But you know, the journey up to now wasn't a waste. We did eliminate many possibilities.
But that means nothing if we can't reach the truth.
Nothing? Why do you want the truth in the first place?
Huh?
It's easy to say you want the truth. But are you sure you can handle it? No matter how cruel the truth may be?
Can I handle it?
I'm still not sure if you're the kind of person who can. I bet you're not sure either. That's why you're still so hesitant. This mystery labyrinth also reflects your reluctance. Maybe that's why.
What are you talking about? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I won't hesitate to expose the truth.
So you still haven't realized it? Guess you're not quite there yet. Well, that's fine for now. But eventually, you'll be forced to make a choice. When that happens, you'll have to prove your conviction and expose the truth.
Enough nonsense. Let's find some clues.
As an apology for the distraction, let me tell you something. This labyrinth appears to change shape by reflecting our investigation. So, instead of following the revealed path, isn't it possible to carve your own path?
Carve my own path? That's right, Shinigami! We can create new routes with our own deductions. Maybe we can do it here.
Sometimes, just a slight change in perspective is enough to completely change how you see things.
So if I change my perspective here, I might see something new. I see. I was so focused on how to overcome the security system. But that's not right. I need to change my perspective and think about who could have overcome it.
Don't box yourself in with your own assumptions.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
I hate when the anemic vampire tells us what to do. But if Master wants to, then fine. I'll lend you my power. Lay it all out, Master.
Oh yes, we can make it again. He's gonna get naked again. Okay, well, come on, security system. After point. So is it Amaterasu? I'm a pal, that's it.
A new route appeared.
This is all thanks to me.
Perhaps I said too much. Well, nothing has been solved yet.
I wish you'd express yourself a little better. How can we tell if you're happy or sad?
I've never been happy or sad in my entire life. I wanna die someday.
Just depressed.
Hopeless.
Anyway, let's explore this new route.
He's just been depressed the entire time. Unfortunately, the only emotion he can feel is depression. Now, not hating on Zuvia or anyone. Honestly, I gotta say, Fubuki
When you think about who could get past
is my
security,
favorite.
the only option we know of is Amapal.
True. And that's how we were able to get through security ourselves.
But it's just a toy robot, right? How is it related to the case?
I don't know yet, but since Amapal can get through security, it must be important.
I never had no everything deathmatch.
It's sealed off here, too.
Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it.
No way. Huh? Doctor?
Huh? Wait. What the? Wait. Who are you? Help! Somebody come help me!
Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked?
Yeah, you're right.
The mystery materialized. It must be related to what the doctor just said.
Who are you?
So the question is, who did the doctor say, who are you, to? Well, I'll leave it to you.
You know you can keep reading at a time like this!
This guy is a culprit.
I can certainly understand why you'd want to choose that. But wasn't security active at that point? I considered all the various possibilities, but I couldn't figure out a way to get past the security. If I'm right, then there is no basis to infer that someone had entered the doctor's lab at this point. Which means you can't say the doctor was directing those words to the culprit.
Yeah, that sounds...
Okay, no one then.
The trap didn't activate. Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So the right answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there?
The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapal. So the only explanation is that no one was there.
Why would he say that if no one was there?
I think if we go there, we'll find the answer.
What? That route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway?
But it looks like this is the only way we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving the mystery behind this case.
Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead.
Oh.
So, Master, do you have an idea about what the geezer was thinking?
Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act.
An act? Really?
The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down this doctor's motive route.
Well, I won the everything deathmatch.
He's here too?
Again.
You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Weska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had
Well, you said there's nothing here. Let's head back.
We can't do that! If he's trying to block our path, then this route must be important.
Nah, fine.
I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So, I'm gonna end you here and now!
In the death match. Like I said, I want to win the death match. Got it.
This was all part of the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Weska put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu. There's no way he'd betray us!
But
I know. Yep, I know.
This was all part of the doctor's
Got the email.
plan. He didn't have a plan at all. That exchange on the intercom wasn't an act. There was no reason to put on a show. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Weska put his soul into his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu.
Wrong.
this is the truth! No, the doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward. He said so in the messages he wrote.
You little...
Yomi's rebuttal? What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives?
It seems that this case involves the inner workings of Amaterasu.
Right. The doctor was going to betray Amaterasu. And whoever he was emailing knew that. So the doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person.
Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that.
I want another amazing death match. Dude,
It's the security gate. Everything's locked up.
I love the amazing death matches. How did Doctor plan to
Which
escape
means
Kanai
this
Ward?
is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key.
This is way more hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma.
As always.
First something, blackout.
This is bad! This isn't the right solution key?
Calm down, Master. And check the contents of each solution key.
Only the doctor knew the details of the plan, so it should be in his notes.
Oh, the door actually opened. I knew I could let Yuma handle it.
Are you sure you weren't a phantom?
The guy always has to like question everyone. Like she always has to say one thing. It's insulting.
So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at his plan.
You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone?
Yeah, he was going to swap places with the corpse, then melt it with acid. He wanted to disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death.
At the very least, it'd buy him enough time to escape Kanai Ward. Or so he thought.
Wow! Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid? Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who was the substitute supposed to be?
Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for a chance to escape. When he learned the hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived. The doctor was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy.
Now that I think about it, the doctor did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive.
The hitman hasn't arrived yet. When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers.
But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans.
And that was the act he put on by asking, "Who are you?"
Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in.
He was trying to lure Master?
He considered taking advantage of the detectives, since the hitman never showed up. So if he called for help, he would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system, and thereby acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy.
That seems overly complicated. Like those guys who overthink asking girls out.
Well, he couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence. He needed visitors, people from outside to pull it off.
Yeah, that does make sense.
So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab...
You'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close!
You want that?
But the doctor's plan failed, and he actually got boom-killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder?
Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet.
In other words, the culprit entered the lab after that exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter?
Where are we?
This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out.
Huh? Shinigami?
Yeah! Master, this looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer?
I haven't said anything yet!
Culprit entered before Arm of Hell.
Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death! We are at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose?
I'll say no. Okay, yes it is.
When I directed Amapal to go into the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him. Which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab.
Your answer? Is correct! Congratulations, Master! Would you like to double down?
What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going.
Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered.
Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapal entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him.
So the most likely time would be when you went to borrow Amapal, Master. The culprit had to have entered the lab then.
But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapal. She said no one entered or left the lab. Huh? We're back on the original path.
Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now.
I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit Yuma. There's no need to push yourself if things get...
No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it.
This is a map of the critical lab.
So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder.
We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery.
If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma?
That's wrong.
At least one detective was always in the front chamber, yes? So the culprit couldn't have been there.
Right. Here. The culprit must have been here.
Yay! It opened!
After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber, when we went to borrow Amapal, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There. The culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime.
Dude,
I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too?
Yeah. The culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapel into the airlock.
And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapel to the doctor's lab. So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapel could get past security, right?
Yeah, that's the next big question.
Maybe the culprit used another Amapal unit.
No. The researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapal.
Which means the Amapal Yuma controlled was the only one that could get past security.
So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapal to get into the doctor's lab.
Yeah, that's the only way. But how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figure that out.
Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out?
What is it?
How about giving up? I'm getting tired.
Nope, motion denied. Another fork in the road? Such a complicated mystery labyrinth.
How does the comfort use Amapal?
Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of this mystery.
As a weapon, as a shield, or neither? I want to say a shield.
Huh? What do you mean, use Amapal as a shield?
Amapal is supposed to be sturdy enough to withstand an elephant stepping on it, right? The culprit may have used Amapal as a shield against the security system.
So, the culprit followed behind Amapal to avoid the toxic gas and explosions?
I get it! You're so smart, Master!
Really? I don't think so.
Hey! Master just showed off how smart and logical he is. Master wasn't smart after all! Come on, take it from the top!
Toxic gas, bypass Amapal.
It's gonna crush us! Yeah! Even if Amapel itself is fine, it wouldn't be able to protect the culprit from the toxic gas. Even though Amapel is sturdy, it couldn't withstand the high voltage shock from the panel chamber. Which means it'd be impossible to use Amapal to protect yourself.
You're only realizing this now.
Perhaps you will improve in the next life.
I'm trying my best in this life!
Okay, neither then. Try this one. Use weapon as a weapon or a shield.
Do you think neither is really the right answer?
Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapal's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor. Which means Amapal wasn't the murder weapon, and the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high voltage shock will destroy it.
So then, how did the culprit use Amapal?
I think we'll find out if we continue down this path.
That was the wrong answer! Come on, Master!
Ow!
Huh?
We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back.
But the door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
For
Even
the
the
crime.
question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again?
Well, the logic is still a hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock.
So you want to choose the same answer and keep going?
If you do, you'll just repeat the whole process again. We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapao. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to.
Hey, don't sit down!
What should I do?
Stand up! Stand up right now!
Stop it. Leave me alone.
If you want me to leave you alone, then help my useless master out!
Fine. Just one thing then. We're back at where was the culprit before the crime? Because you're stuck at how. With that in mind, these two questions are connected.
Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapal was used?
Help him out more! More!
The culprit was hiding in the airlock, where you also left the robot. At that moment, only the culprit and Amapao were there.
The culprit did something to Amapal?
Clues are always there, right under your nose. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember.
Something strange. Hey! Now that you mention it, back then...
Cat, you guys
the
have
screen lit
anything?
up. So this is what Amapal sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha.
Whoa, what was that?
Did it break already? I thought it was state of the art.
No, it's alright. It's stabilized. There was a moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapal. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe...
See? I told you it was right under your nose.
that was a clue to help solve this mystery?
Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else?
Something unusual. Something I missed.
Anything else?
Wait, that's it!
Huh?
Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapal, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapal to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure.
Now that you mention it...
But nobody showed up on camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without appearing even once on Amapal's camera?
Hey, aren't you just adding another mystery?
No. All the pieces are here.
Huh?
Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer.
A single answer?
Sheesh. I talk too much.
Whoa, one mystery after another! What do you do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries!
Let's stay calm and think about it. There's plenty of time.
Or not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up.
Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think!
Culprit's location. Amapel's usage. Its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All this can be solved with just one answer?
Got it! The culprit rode on Amapel's head, using it as a method of transportation.
The door opened!
With every open door, it will be harder for you to turn back. Are you sure you want to keep going?
Absolutely! I will find the truth no matter what. This is for the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Hey, you said the culprit rode on top of Amapel. What did you mean by that?
Literally what I said. The culprit rode Amapel and used it to get through. After we left Amapel in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapel's head. The disruption in the footage was from the impact.
That's insane.
Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapal can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight. So, someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality.
The shoe print on Amapel's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it. It was left there from the culprit hopping on and off.
After that, the culprit simply rode on it as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab.
You're right. If it's true, then it does solve all of the previous mysteries. Imagining the culprit riding on a robot makes me laugh!
But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains.
What's with that huge sigh?
The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down.
This case's greatest mystery? This is the panel chamber.
That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it. If we can get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah? Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned?
Not exactly what I was envisioning.
Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out.
Beats me.
Cool. For them to get into that lab. Nothing gonna have less.
The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapel entered the room, which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapel at some point. It was when the door first opened. At that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room.
Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening, just like this. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Right. The moment there was enough space for a person to slip through, the culprit hopped off and went inside.
Like this?
Reasoning deathmatch!
We still haven't reached the goal! I thought we could get into the doc's lab now!
Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes. If this is a joke, it's not very funny.
Master, you know what to do.
Of course.
I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it in the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you!
Deathmatch!
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
What does that mean?
Say,
The culprit hopped off Alapal.
Yeah, I didn't look at this. Let's see. Alpha, sorry, not sorry, Ruby, are, but Arden, Forte. How's that? Lubricate.
Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
What does that mean?
say,
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist!
Okay, so not Fubuki's Forte,
say,
No.
or maybe it's like not that.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
That's right.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist!
Dude, I'm trying everything here, man.
Yeah.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist! Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
That's right.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Faith, a slaughter artist. Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky. What, did they use some sort of special power?
That would have been Fubisky's forte.
Right.
No.
For now.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Faith, the slaughter artist. Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky.
Who's about to fall
The
asleep?
crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky. What, did they use some sort of special power?
Yeah. Speaking of which...
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Fink, the slaughter artist.
Yeah.
The culprit hopped off Alapal as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door. That's impossible, even for Fink, the slaughter artist. Think about it. If Alapal's line of sight changed just a bit, the camera would have caught it. No one would do something so risky. The crime would have been exposed. The culprit must be really lucky.
You know what? I'm gonna look. I don't like solutions to this because I don't know what to like really say here, man. Like seriously, I had no idea. Also, it's the only time I'm gonna look up a guide, man. There was a guide online. Got it.
That's right.
The culprit.
Hopped off Amapower as the door opened, then slipped through the gap in the door.
That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist. Think about it. If Amapal's line of sight changed just a bit.
Wrong.
I'll slash through this mystery. Amapel is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs. That's why when it was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera.
You little maggots. Don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive.
I get it. So Amapal couldn't move while the door was opening. That's when the culprit took their chance.
Since the door opens outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot it creates. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the doctor's room.
So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapal's design, and even the direction the door opens. Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you can call it an obsession. How scary. Just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession in full display? A room of nightmares?
Knock it off with the weird soliloquies. Let's go.
You're really going?
Huh?
Oh my god.
Hey, Yuma. When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open...
Huh? Yeah?
At the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and an intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed?
So what if he did notice? It's not a big deal.
Yes, it is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned to face him, which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back.
That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed.
Hey, what are you, on the Phantom side now?
Listen to my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit! Everything you do is a fucking mistake!
Freezing deathmatch. Freezing deathmatch.
Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it wouldn't be from behind.
My claim doesn't hold up! No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered.
That's why I'm saying your deduction is inconsistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way! The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way you missed an intruder. Running is no...
Hang on. Notes. Mission Dr. Wesker. This is Slaughter Knife.
Easy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming!
I get.
Me?
The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back.
And that it? Okay.
Hey,
In that case,
say.
The culprit quickly entered the lab.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dr. Wesker, he had hearing issues.
But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy.
Say.
yeah.
The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back.
Say.
After to the knife and that's a chest.
That's right.
Should have noise. Doctor would have noticed.
The culprit quickly entered the lab. But
I just look up the gun again, dude. I swear, man. Dude, I'm seriously trying my best here, man. I need to know what the answer is. Because honestly, I did not process this stage ahead of time. Oh, the answers. Got
the
it.
doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back.
Okay, I need to wait a little longer then.
Say.
That's right.
The culprit quickly entered the lab. But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So So Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged?
That's right.
The culprit quickly entered the lab.
Okay, let me just pause for a quick second here. I want to see what happens here. You heard someone coming. Okay.
But the doctor was in the room at the time, right? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy.
That's
So
fair.
Wesker would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed, not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming!
Wrong.
This is the truth. Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder.
Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic. And there's no way you're gonna fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes.
What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivius said the same thing. But...
It's strange, don't you think? Isn't it about time you noticed that something...
Huh?
You've solved many mysteries up to now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity.
That's because the culprit is the hitman.
If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? That would end the labyrinth.
It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back, unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on. What are you getting at?
In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit.
Huh?
Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning.
What hole?
Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going.
Hey!
Yuma. Yuma.
Jeez, go away!
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The huge hole in this investigation.
What are you...
Just ignore him.
Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapau's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapau while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you.
That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction?
It's before all of that. It remains the case's greatest mystery.
Which is?
How did the culprit get past security?
What?
We already told you that. The culprit rode on top of Avapal as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab.
But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high-voltage shocks in the panel chamber?
Oh.
This is the end for you! You have nowhere left to go!
Oh, come on! Why now?
I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward! As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now!
Perhaps this, too, is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind?
No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for the Chief and everyone at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Good luck! You'll never find it. You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever. Like blind mice, you'll rot away in it, looking for an answer that will never come! Keep playing with your shit, deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery! How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it! Don't tell me the culprit is a robot!
But... that's right!
Keep playing with your shit, deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery! How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live.
Safe.
keep playing with your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There was no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system? No living human can breach it.
I'll slash through this mystery. A human could get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high-voltage shocks kept destroying Amapel. But we reversed time every time that happened.
Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, you went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapel. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed.
But...
Which means you killed the culprit over and over again.
Vivia...
If only you had chosen to remain ignorant, I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
He's going to betray you, Master.
Betray me?
It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time to decide your past and your future.
Why, Vivia?
Deathmatch. We're doing deathmatch with Vivia.
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die. You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity.
I can't believe you got this Vivia.
Say,
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit will surely die.
I need the guide. I just want to keep playing this, dude. Like, seriously, I want to get past this because honestly, Vivia stands our way right now. Seriously, I cannot stop playing this game, man. It is too enjoyable. Ace Vivia and an amazing deathmatch.
Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic gas chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas.
Yeah, it is. True.
The culprit would surely die.
True.
You should already know this, right? The gas is a special trait. The gas can see through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching Wesker.
Wrong.
No one.
This is the truth! If you pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes.
What? Don't tell me.
There are no gas masks here that can block this toxic gas. And no fortes that can nullify it. There's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You endure it in hopes of Amapel taking you to the next room.
Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it and just passed through the toxic gas?
It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it, but if the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas,
Then they...
the culprit is...
It appears you finally glimpsed the truth. Well, how does it feel to have your world shatter before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted?
What's he talking about?
Yomi's Mystery Phantom and Fifia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth.
Huh?
Up until now, the Mystery Labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance.
Master, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right?
The truth is worthless. Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth. Not even you! Now, rot away and die right here! No one will get in my way. Kanai Lord, Amaterasu, they both belong to me!
Freezing deathmatch.
If the culprit carried out the crime that you deduced, then they should be dead from the toxic gas. But no one at the scene has died from poison. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here?
You're right that no one in that lab died from that toxic gas. But that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their death.
Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth? Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in.
Your deduction is wrong. Don't disturb the peace. It's not even worth debating. Is this the best you can do to refute it? Just give up and die!
With this, I'll expose the truth! The culprit misrepresented their death by using the hitman. The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas, so they used the hitman to cover up their own death.
Used the hitman?
Meaning, the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas.
Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit? But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman?
All you would need is a similar knife. The story of Fink the Slaughter Artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known.
Nah, we leave it alone until we receive further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the Slaughter Artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F.
So, it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like the hitman did it?
Stop. Stop! You useless garbage! To hell with detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in my city! There is no real culprit! Dr. Weska was killed by the hitman!
Huh? What's going on? Who's the real culprit?
The real culprit. The real culprit is...
The time has finally come. Yuma, it's time for you to acknowledge what you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth? Then, show me your conviction.
The clues pointing to the identity of the hitman's target. I know. I've known all along.
Now, expose the truth. Do it, if you want to burn the world down.
Defeat Yami with the key.
The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target. The real culprit behind this case. The blood obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It could only be one person. It could only be...
How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it?
It's...
No. Stop! Don't you dare say another word! No one wants the truth!
I don't understand, but good luck, Master. I'm always by your side, haunting you.
Who's the true culprit? Dude, I think I already know. It's Yakko.
Huh?
Yako.
Huh? Why? Why is Fuzzhead here?
Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target. And the chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose.
Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this?
I don't want to believe it either, but there's no other way.
Don't forget this stuff!
Don't stand in our way,
The
man.
phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter, but I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the chief takes his final breaths.
Vivia.
Yuma. If Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about that death threat? Why would the chief send it if he was the killer? Answer me, Yuma.
By sending that note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger, which was necessary for this sequence of events to take place. All the Master Detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor.
Huh? Their abilities?
But the death threat wasn't sent just to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all?
The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan. When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The Master Detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers.
It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one.
This is why the peacekeepers also received the death threat.
Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up.
I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time. But this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this.
Vivia.
Let's continue, Yuma. So, everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with the chief, right?
Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred.
Wait! That blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them.
What do we do?
I'll draw their attention to buy some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor.
The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock.
Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was that also the chief?
No, that's not it! Chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the...
Was that also the chief?
No, that's not it! No, that's not it! The ch-
Well, thank you for pointing till now. I have to find a good place to stop it.
The chief was with me in the security room at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time.
But why?
It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor.
So, Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber? That was all part of Fuzzhead's plan?
The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure that out.
I think it's more like... he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion.
I'm counting on you both. See you later.
Trust? How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all. He gathered the Master Detectives using a fake death threat, then used their Fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag! He used you all to get away with murder! Out of all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all! Master, grab that coward and...
Enough!
Why did it have to come to this? Chief Yako saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything. Even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still. I really admired him. So, why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me!
There's no point in asking. That's just a mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out!
The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts. The photo behind the houseplant. I don't know what the chief was hiding, but that photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found. So, he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. but in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden.
Master, I think you know this, but to exit the mystery labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit.
Eliminate? The chief?
Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. Will you still bury him in the name of truth?
The chief took me in when I had no memories, or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. Now, I have to end his life?
You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at the Nocturnal Detective Agency.
Vivia, you knew the truth behind this case from the very beginning.
I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time, but I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made.
That's why you threatened me, and were so uncooperative in the investigation.
I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma, but I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone, neither the chief nor you.
Master, you've already come this far. You've got to finish this. What'll happen to the other Master Detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone?
Vivia, you told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be. Now is that time, isn't it?
Yes, and yet you intend to continue, if you're prepared for it.
Hey! You better not get in Master's way again!
Yuma, do you remember when the chief's soul called out to us?
Huh?
Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I always averted my eyes from the truth. For my own sake. My own peace and quiet. But I could never say with confidence that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma.
Entrust what?
You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing all truth, I believe you'll be able to face it. I want to see it through to the end. It's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high, because I, too, am a detective.
Vivia.
When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud.
I understand. Chief, thank you. For everything you've done for me!
Alright. File for the mystery oven. Destined announcement. Here. Who's the culprit? We don't have that yet. Killed. Let's look and kill Dr. Weska. That'll be the knife. Power. Oh, that would be the key. We used get past security. That would be Amapal, correct? Yep. Where did the culprit hide? Had that yet? That's the intercom. Now have fun kill stuff. And culprit hide. On near event. Death threat, symptoms, and also peacekeepers. Where is not located? Alcatraz Corporation. Let's see. Sure, we use the panel. That's the wiki. We don't have that yet. Kill the culprit. Slaughter artist. That's the key. And last one. Who's the culprit? Mystery unraveled.
Step right up, step right up! Peacekeepers, a CEO, a research doctor, a hitman, and master detectives! 2 dead bodies, but lots of shady characters! Truth bombs are about to be dropped! Time for the deduction denouement!
The victim in this case is one Dr. Weska. This incident features a sinister and meticulously detailed plot centered on the doctor.
The old geezer was holed up inside a lab at Amaterasu HQ. He was a total hermit in the critical lab, with a totally overkill security system.
The culprit made thorough preparations beforehand to break through that system.
spoon killing a shut-in is hard work. The humane thing to do is to reintroduce him to society first.
Yeah, with that out of the way. Posing as a hitman, the culprit sent a death threat to the Peacekeepers, the Detective Agency, and the Research Lab. At the same time, they contracted a real hitman and had him infiltrate the research facility.
They spilled the beans about Gramps being in danger to lure both the Peacekeepers and the detectives to the lab.
You see, the Master Detective's presence at the scene was an indispensable part of the plan. It was how the culprit gained access to the research facility, after all. The hitman infiltrated the lab exactly as planned. And we arrived with Makoto at the same time.
Stuff went down, blah blah blah, and Master got locked up by that Yomi guy.
I was rescued by Desuhiko and the culprit, who were disguised as peacekeepers. With the real peacekeepers rushing around, the culprit took advantage of the turmoil to sneak into the lab. But after catching up with them, the power suddenly went out, separating the culprit from the rest of the group.
The blackout itself was caused by the hitman, right? And getting separated was all part of the culprit's plan.
Right. They used the blackout as an opportunity to hide in the vents in the airlock chamber. Afterwards, we headed to the critical lab to check on the doctor's condition, just like the culprit directed us. But since that lab used a separate power supply, nothing strange had happened.
This whole the doctor's in danger spiel was an act, huh? We made a fool of you, Master! What a dick!
But then, someone attacked the doctor while we were trying to talk with him over the intercom. We had to get into the doctor's lab.
But that time, the old geezer was playing games with us. And he even tried to kill you and the others with a trap! That bastard wanted to use your dead bodies! He really got you there, Master!
I don't see why you're so happy about it. The doctor's sham made the case even more confusing. Even if we tried to get to the doctor, the critical lab was guarded by tight security. The only way through was by using an Omapal. The culprit rode on it by emerging from their hiding place in the airlock vent and jumping onto the robot's head.
All aboard the Omapal Express! First stop, a shower of toxic gas! Humans can't protect themselves against the gas, but since it's not instantly fatal, it wasn't a problem. Next up, the panel chamber and high-voltage shocks! One wrong move, and it was insta-death! But thanks to that sharp escape, we got...
The camera feed was affected when the culprit jumped on. She didn't realize what was happening.
So I'm just going through this with the job on me. I gotta go eat dinner and
I guess that means the killer completely trusted in the Master Detective. They knew those powers would get them close to the doctor. But why were they willing to die to hide the crime?
I can't say for certain. Was it his pride as a detective? Did he simply not want his friends to know? Whatever it may be, I'm prepared to face the truth. The culprit who murdered Dr. Weska, and even included his own death in the plot.
Jaco Furio! It was you!
I will expose the truth! But why, Chief Jaco? Why? Why didn't you ever talk to us about this? Why did it have to end this way? Why didn't you tell us? Is this really what you wanted? Can you even hear me?
It doesn't matter who it is. Exterminating the real culprit's soul and destroying the mystery labyrinth. That's why I'm here.
Let's more through this. This I can't.
Surging bloodlust. Overflowing
This
despair.
one's definitely not the same. This one's definitely quite different from the others.
Freedom soul of Shinigami shall expunge this cursed case. Death to all deplorables. Through into the vile mystery labyrinth.
So I'm not gonna let this go on long anyway. Stuff in that.
Glorious stellar spiral!
Too good. Yeah, she hugs him. Sends him to hell, goes to heaven. This I'll fast forward through.
Master's naivete must be rubbing off on me. I mean, not even I hated Fuzzhead. That's weird. This mystery labyrinth is falling apart slower than usual. I wonder why.
We shouldn't let our guards down yet. Do you really think we're done here?
Huh? No, we haven't uncovered everything yet.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop it here. Not sure what else there is to solve. I don't think this Mr. Gotham's gonna just I don't think that this long of a mystery labyrinth though. You know what?
I can't wait.
I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next episode. Have a great stay. Peace out. I'm coming to the next episode, which is coming out tonight. Bye.